Hello and welcome. I'm Jenny Hall. Thanks for joining me for another card making tutorial. Today I have not just a card, but a keepsake and a card that go together perfectly for Valentine's Day. I'm crafting with the Meant to Be stamp set. This is new in the Stampin' Up! Occasions Catalog 2019. They pair very well with the Be Mine stitched framelits, which is a really big set of framelits. There's a lot of possibilities to create with these, and they were the inspiration for this project. There's an edgelet die that has a beautiful edging, a row of hearts, lots and lots. But I really do like how these stitched hearts work together. And we'll take a closer look at how they do work together whenever we die cut our project. They cut the hearts and the edging in a most unusual way. It's very crafty and very clever of Stampin' Up! The way they have designed these framelits. So we'll get a closer look at all of those whenever we get to the die cutting portion. We're going to create a technique panel for the keepsake. And the color choices are Flirty Flamingo, Calypso Coral, and Gorgeous Grape. I'm going to be doing ink blending onto a piece of watercolor paper. If you've never tried the ink blending technique, this is a wonderful project to try and see if you like that technique. I'm starting off with a sponge dauber that will work well for each of the colors. They each have their own color. Put the lightest color, which was Flirty Flamingo, in the middle and working in a circular motion, just slowly adding in the color. I'm not pressing hard on the sponge dauber. I'm not rubbing it into the paper. I'm allowing the sponge to kind of float on the paper very lightly and moving my hand in a circular motion. Then the ink starts building up. After I get all of the coloring on, then I like to go back in and add some intensity in different areas. I'm using my Stampin Spritzer that's filled with tap water. I've taken off the top and then I'm dipping it into the barrel and just putting some drips of water onto the panel. It doesn't have to stay on there long before the color really starts to lift up. It's like magic, isn't it? This is just another little fun way to give a variation of color. Now we've got the two largest of those heart dies. I've positioned them together to where there's an equal amount of space on all sides of the two hearts. It's very easy to kind of let one go off to the side, and then the die cut will not be straight because it has stitch lines along the outside edge of the smaller heart. You'll see what I'm talking about as we release the dies from the paper. So I have found that securing them in place will help to get a nice even cut. So now we have the piece that comes away, which would be the negative space, and then there's a fun outline as well. And I've taken just that outline image, run it back through the die cut machine with white paper so that we have double. Now I've also done white die cutting with the row of hearts and with this beautiful little detailed heart image. This die set is absolutely stunning, and it's no wonder that it was the inspiration for this project. Putting all these pieces together and layering them up is just so much fun. To get these two pieces that were cut away from each other to actually stay together, I'm using Stampin' Dimensionals and I'm placing them in the area that overlaps those two cut lines. So now the hearts will stay back together. And I'm thinking that the Stampin' Dimensionals will kind of, make sure that wherever the receiver of this keepsake hangs it up, that it would be a nice little thing nice little area for them to hang it up with. I just thought it would work out well. The sentiment is stamped on a piece of basic black cardstock, and if you're new to embossing, you just make sure that you rub the embossing buddy bag over the cardstock, then stamp in Versamark, apply your embossing powder, and heat set it. Once I've trimmed down the sentiment, then I'm cutting a little fishtail on each side, and then it will go onto the project over all of the other elements, kind of in the center. The detailed heart will lay flat up against the colored heart, and I've attached it with some liquid glue, and then Stampin' Dimensionals will adhere the sentiment right over it. Very, very simple, but the coloring that we added really helps it to stand out. So let's make a card to match this keepsake. I've used a card base of Whisper White cardstock. All of the measurements are in the video description or in the printable tutorial that's on my blog at jennyhalldesign.com. I adhered the white heart first, and now adhered those extra pieces from the other project, so nothing's going to waste. I'll be able to stamp the sentiment in Tuxedo black. And one side note about the Happy Valentine's Day sentiment. The way that it is written or drawn, if I don't get it stamped straight, it still looks okay, because I did not get it straight. I often am a crooked stamper, but it does look okay, which really made me feel better about my project. Inside of the card is decorated with some more of the die cuts and stamped hearts. And now I'm going to add some adhesive back sequins from the Butterfly Gala adhesive sequin set. They're so pretty. And when I'm thinking that whenever this project goes in the mail, I'm going to have this little keepsake heart right in front of the card, and as they remove it from in front of it, it's going to reveal Happy Valentine's Day, and we'll still have inside the card to be able to write a message. I really like the colors, how well they work together in this project. I hope you learned a little bit about ink blending and lifting the color back off of watercolor paper. There's a lot of possibilities to be created with this type of technique. Thank you so much for joining me today for this tutorial. All of the details, including a printable free PDF, are on my blog at jennyhalldesign.com. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks for watching the video. Have a good day!